Hello everyone, welcome to another lesson in our Contact Builder and Scripting tutorials. And in this one I would like to go over how to do animations in Contact. I will show you one way, there might be other ways, but in the end they're all kind of based on the same idea. And what do I mean by animation? So let's first quickly take a look. So yeah, shameless plug, this is my instrument. If you can see, you see that this center sort of ring or whatever you want to call it, it's animated, it's moving around. And there are other things that are animated. So for example, if I now click to change something here, to change the selected sample, you will see that there's this quick little circle here. So little things that are animated inside an instrument. And let's make a quick little disclaimer here. So you have to be a little bit careful with what you do here with animations in Contact. For various reasons, let's talk about performance in a second, but I think the main consideration here is user experience. You don't want tons of things flying around, like that would be super annoying, right? In the end, it's an instrument, it's a synthesizer. It should fulfill its goal, its main mission, and not be all over the place. But if you find it tactful, if it helps your design, if it's beautiful, and if it's not annoying the user, then of course you can decide to do it. I would also argue that you should at least give your user the option to turn off such animations. Some people are just put off by this, it drives them crazy. It, I don't know, maybe makes their eyes go in a certain place where they actually prefer their eyes to focus somewhere else. So have the ability to turn it on and off. That being said, what is actually an animation? So if you think about it, if we take any knob or anything else, let's go already into our little pictures folder here. So let's say we have this thing over here. It's a sprite sheet in the end, right? Just like any other knob, as we saw in our other tutorials, it's just frames. And as you move a knob in Contact, right, you're moving, basically, you're telling Contact to go to the next frame of the animation. So we can use exactly that same mechanism, basically tell Contact to use a knob for our animation. Let's get to it and you'll see what I mean. So the first thing though is you have to kind of prepare your assets. What I did here, maybe let's close already this instrument so we have a little bit smaller Contact. What I did here is very simply, and I don't want to go over previous information from previous tutorials. I created a new instrument, I saved the NKI, I created a resource container, I resaved it so that I have all the folders. I put a script inside, it has nothing except these bullet points that just for myself to remember to discuss with you all. But I went into the pictures folder and I put here this animation.png. So it's basically just a running strip of frames. And the important thing to note here is, well, two things. The first thing to note is you have to know how many frames you have, because you will be using that when you're looping and creating the animation. So in this particular case, I know that this file contains 100 separate frames. So there are 100 here, and we will be looping over the 100. So that's the first important piece of information. The second piece of information is this file is 7 megabytes, right? So as I will be loading this animation.png into my instrument, I will be loading 7 megabytes into the instrument. And I will show you in a second, after you load it, it won't show up here in the memory. This little memory tag inside Contact, it only refers to things like samples and audio sort of memory usage. So you have to kind of be mindful that, remember that every time, let's say in a DAW project, the user is now loading this instrument multiple times, every single time, this single PNG is 7 megabytes. Now, 7 megabytes is not that much. I think in today's world, we can live with an animation or like graphical asset that weighs 7 megabytes, but just be very mindful of this, right? Like, and if you use multiple animations and multiple things like that, it could get quite heavy. Again, I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just telling you to be mindful. And also, when you're creating this animation, right, this is a whole other topic. You need to know how to create it and how to compress the PNG that in the end you result in a high quality file, but that it's not 50 or 100 megabytes, it's 7 megabytes, preferably actually even less. But let's get on with it. So we know, but we have 100 frames. We spoke really quickly about the file size. We decided that we can live with it in our case, and now we want to use this animation. Now, what you need for every picture that you put in the resource corner container in Kontakt, we actually didn't really talk about this in our other videos, is you need to have a corresponding text file, and it needs to have the exact same name of the PNG. This is needed for every single PNG you put in the pictures folder. Now, funnily, this information somehow got lost over the years at NI. It's not currently in the Kontakt manual. So you will need to look a bit online if you need to formulate this text file. The good thing here is you only need to make it once. So like basically what I actually usually do is, like, let's say I have another animation pin, like, I don't know, animation 1. I just copy paste this one, rename it animation 1, and go inside and edit it. It's always the same format. There aren't no multiple formats is what I'm saying. It's just this one format. So assuming you have this animation txt, the important thing is to go inside. Let's not talk about all these options here. They actually don't matter for most use cases. For some they do, but 90% of the use cases, the only thing that you need to worry about is the number of animations and if it is a horizontal or vertical animation. Now in our case, this is a horizontal animation. Why does it have an extra space? So it is a horizontal animation. We saw this, and it's important to let Kontakt know that in this text file, and we know our number of animations is 100. Great. Once we have that, our assets are set up. They are placed inside the correct place in our resource container, and we can refer to them in our script. So we actually don't need to look at this anymore. Let's get down to actually doing our script. So we have our NKI open over here. There is no performance view. We have declared nothing, and the only thing I did here was I applied this file from the resource container. So we can just edit this file, save, and it will show in Kontakt. Again, if this is if you're not sure what I'm doing here, refer to previous videos where we show all of this. All right, let's get to it. So obviously the first thing we need to do is we need to initialize our script, right? So let's create our init. Again, previous videos for all this information. We can use the code completion here. We can create our performance view. Let's reset the debugger, and let's give a title to the script. Yeah, I don't know, animation. Simple as that, animation. All right, the next thing that we need to do is, when you think about it, right? We said we were going to use a slider, and we're going to use frames on a slider, but we don't want the user to be doing that with the mouse. So we're going to introduce two concepts. We're going to introduce a timer, and then we're going to introduce a callback that will allow us to make use of that timer. So in Kontakt, this is called, it's the command to set it up. Let's say it's called set listener. You set up a listener callback. We'll discuss the callback in a second. And you can tell it which signal type. You can tell it to be dependent on the beat, and then give it like a parameter, the second parameter over here, which would depend on the BPM from your DAW and etc. We don't want that right now. And again, you don't need to remember all these commands here. You can refer to the manual as you need it. Listener, I don't remember it. Look, I have it before. Again, yeah, NI signal timer. So this is what you need to put here. And we want microseconds. So you have microseconds or beats. Again, it's all in the manual. And what we want to set right here is 40,000 microseconds. And this corresponds to something like, it's not exactly, but it's around 25 frames per second. So now, when we call our listener callback, let's do that on listener. And we even have this comment here that explains it a little bit. So listener callback executed at definable time intervals, or whenever a transport command is received. We don't care about transport command right now. We care because we set it to milliseconds. And this is our time interval. Basically means that as opposed to UI controls, which we have already explored, you know, the callback gets called when you click on a UI control here. It just happens every time this tick happens. So 25 times per second, this callback is being called. Let's fill the callback in later. Let's first have the rest of the things that we need set up. So we set up the timer itself, and we already have the frame of the callback. Now we need to set up the slider for this. So let's do that. Let's declare a slider. UI slider, and we can call it whatever we want. How about animation? This word seems to be popular. And remember, we have 100 frames. So basically that means that we need 100 spots, and since Kontakt is 0-based, this slider will go from 0 to 99. So the 99th spot is actually the 100th frame, right? So we did that, and that is super important. Like, it needs to be able to go through that, and you will see because we will also be using the maximum in this setup in a second. So we have our slider itself, we have the range, and now we need to give it the picture. So how about we do set control par, that actually needs to be str, it's a string. So set control par str, we're going to get the UI ID, get UI ID, all stuff that you should know from previous videos. And we're going to do animation, so that we have the UI ID, and my OCD kind of makes me delete those spaces there. And we're going to do, and this is quite an easy one to remember actually, because it's simply control par picture. And the value is going to be, I guess, yeah, did I call it animation? I called it, whoa, where did I go? I guess I'm in the wrong folder, 1 second. So animation. Yeah, I did call it, whoops, let's stay in the folder. Okay, animation. Easy enough. Animation. Cool, so now we have the picture. How about we save right now and we see that the picture is actually loading and that we don't have any mistakes. So I save the file, I go back into Kontakt, and why is it not applied? Okay, there we go. And we have our animation thingamajig, and you notice, well, it's not animated yet, but we have it on screen, but you notice that it is cut off because we didn't set the size of the performance view. So let's quickly just do that. So let's do, and actually for a cleaner script, I like to start with the message off. So let's do make preview, or even, yeah, script title. All this can go before. Again, this is up to you how you want to set it up, but let's do set UI height, and we're going to set the UI height by pixels. And let's just do something like, I don't know, is it enough? Let's check. So why is it not auto applying? I'm not exactly sure, but let's apply like this. And that's not enough. So let's do 400. That should be enough. Okay, so now we see the whole thing. And now we can just go on. We know that our script so far is okay. We can see it. And then we have just the remaining step of animating on the listener. So let's think about it for a second. We have the slider. Right now it's on the 0 frame. And if you see, I'm moving it with the mouse. It's actually a knob. So it is actually moving the frames like a knob, like it should. But we want it to move when the listener comes in, and it's going to go really fast, right? It's an animation. And we want just this slider to move, but we want it to also loop back, right? It's an animation. So the whole point that it's looping and that it continues to go on seamlessly. So we need to know that once we reach the maximum, we need to go back to the minimum. So what we're going to do is we're going to check, first of all, what is the value of this slider? So we're going to do if animation equals get control par, and we're going to do this guy again. You'll see in a minute. And we're going to do control par max value. So what we're checking right here is, hey, look, Mr. Listener, yeah, these 25 frames per second that are coming in, every time check if animation is actually equaling the max value. And if it equals the max value, you're going to need to reset it. So if it equals the max value, at that point, we're going to do animation equals 0. If it doesn't equal the maximum, then we can just go on to the next step, and we're going to do animation equals animation plus 1. Let's quickly check it, see if it works, and if it doesn't, we'll fix it. And if it does, we can go on. So it doesn't work, does it? No, it's not. Oh, we didn't apply. Yeah, it does work. Cool. So you can see that it's moving a little bit over here. Maybe we should make a black background. Hang on, I actually saved this before, so I'd never remember this hex value. It's actually a super easy hex. There is no hex value. Let's set the background of our UI to black, and we can see it a little bit better. Amazing. So you can see now that the whole thing is animated. Once it reaches the end of the animation, it just simply goes back to 0. So the logic is actually very, very easy in this case. Now, of course, if you need to depend on other logic, like, I don't know, a user clicks somewhere and then react, then you need to add more things. Let's just quickly show how to make the button that turns it off and on. You should know this stuff already from our previous videos. Nothing really new here, but we're going to just declare quickly a switch. And we're just going to check here on Listener. We're going to first of all check if switch equals 1. So if the switch is on, we're going to run the animation. If it's not, we're just not going to run the animation. Let's see if that works for us. So let's apply. It's a bit ugly, but we don't care. Now the switch is off, nothing is happening. Let's turn it on, and you can see that the animation is turning on. So this is, yeah, that's it. That's how you make an animation in Kontakt. Again, mind all these things that we talked about in the beginning, the size of the asset and the UX of this whole thing. It's a very real thing. Don't get tempted to just, go wild and animate everything. I have to be honest, I don't think that's what the user wants. But if it adds beauty, and especially if it adds something to the functionality, go for it, and this is the way to do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.